Hi guys, how you doing? This is Ben, the Real Estate Pro, coming at you. Hopefully, going to kick you some knowledge. So, I went to a website that I was made aware of during a podcast for Real Estate Insiders Unfiltered. It's done by James Wiggins and Keith Robinson. They interviewed the general counsel for NAR. Her name was, I believe, Leslie Muchow. I probably butchered that name, but a very articulate woman. Definitely knows her stuff, and she was just trying to get the correct information out there. And she had happened to mention this website if you had any questions and some resources that you could use to give to your clients. Now, this particular document is the NAR Settlement Get the Facts. Home buyers, here's what the NAR Settlement means for you. So this is designed to be given to home buyers. And this is something that I'll be giving out to any prospective clients that I have that are looking to purchase a home, so we could literally be working off the exact same page. Okay, let's go ahead and start. Home buyers, here's what the NAR settlement means for you. Buying a home is one of the largest financial transactions most people will ever undertake. Agents who are realtors are a trusted source of advice and stand ready to help you navigate your home buying journey and make the choices that work best for you. NAR's recent settlement has led to several changes that benefit home buyers, and we wanted to clearly lay them out for you. Here is what the settlement means for home buyers. You will sign a written agreement with your agent before touring a home. Notice before touring a home, before they open one door. Before signing this agreement, you should ensure it reflects the terms you have negotiated with your agent and that you understand exactly what services and value will be provided and for how much. The buyer agreement must include four components concerning compensation, and here they are: one, two, three, and four. One, a specific and conspicuous disclosure of the amount or rate of compensation the real estate agent will receive or how much the amount will be determined. Compensation that is objective, meaning it's a dollar amount or a flat fee, a percentage, or an hourly rate, and not open-ended. It gives an example. It cannot be something like buyer broker compensation shall be whatever the amount the seller is offering to the buyer. That is a no-no. Number three, a term that prohibits the agent from receiving compensation for brokerage services from any source that exceeds the amount or rate agreed to in the agreement with the buyer. That is interesting because before any of this information came out, there were a lot of buyer's agents that were saying, well, they'll go ahead and agree to a certain amount, and if there's any amount above what we agree to, I'm just going to have my buyer amend the agreement so I can capture those additional funds. Now, in my opinion, that is unethical, and apparently, according to NAR anyway, it's not something that you can do. Now, there is a caveat to it, and I'll go over it here in just a second. A conspicuous statement, this is number four, a conspicuous statement that broker fees and commissions are fully negotiable and not set by law. Written agreements apply to both in-person and live virtual home tours. So if you take someone on a home tour, or maybe if you do it virtually, it's the same thing. Okay, so you can't say, well, they weren't here, I just did a virtual tour, so I don't really have to have an agreement. No, according to this, you do have to have an agreement, even if it's a virtual tour. You do not need a written agreement if you are just speaking to an agent at an open house or asking them about their services. The seller may agree to offer compensation to your agent. The practice is permitted, but the offer cannot be shared on the multiple listing service. MLSs are local marketplaces used by both buyer brokers and listing brokers to share information about properties for sale. You can still accept concessions from the seller, such as offers to pay your closing costs. These practice changes went into effect August 17th. Okay, now the caveat back up to number three. A term that prohibits the agent from receiving compensation for brokerage services from any source that exceeds the amount or rate agreed to in the agreement with your buyer. Now, it is permissible, and this was according to Leslie Machow, who's the general counsel of NAR, it is permissible to amend an agreement. Okay. However, you cannot amend an agreement solely for the purpose of capturing additional compensation. Okay, so for instance, like in the example that I gave earlier, let's say that you agree to a certain amount on the buyer's compensation agreement, and then you come to find out later, as you put in an offer, that the seller is offering an amount above what's agreed to. Well, you can't change your agreement or amend your agreement solely for the reason or solely to match whatever the seller is offering. You cannot do that, according to NAR, according to NAR's general counsel. You can do it if there is some type of business reason for the increase. For instance, this is something that she said in the podcast. Let's say that you were supposed to show 10 properties, but you showed 100. Or let's say that instead of maybe you worked with a client for a month, but it turned into 6 months or a year. Then in those cases, you might be able to justify amending your agreement because you did more than what was in the scope of work that you agreed to in the first place. So you just can't amend it, okay, and get more money just simply because the seller's offering more. Okay, something that I think every agent needs to remember, because I think there are a lot of agents out there, unfortunately, which I think is unethical, that are trying to find workarounds on all this because they feel that somehow they're owed this money or it's their money and it should be paid to them. Well, whether you think that or not, it's not permissible. Not in the way that you're thinking anyway. Okay? So these are the new rules. This is what we have to work with. And guys, stop trying to make workarounds. Just, you know, tell your clients what it is that you can do, provide that value, articulate that value, agree to a certain amount, and do your job. That's really all you need to do. Now, here's the bottom part of it. Here's what the settlement doesn't change. Agents who are realtors are here to help you navigate the home buying process and are ethically obligated to work in your best interests. That's Article 1 of the uh, uh, Realtor Code of Ethics. Okay, you know what's kind of amazing is I've told people when they're interviewing agents, when they're interviewing me, I just ask them if you're interviewing any more agents out there, ask them how Article 1 of the Realtor Code of Ethics, how that affects their business practices, and I think they'll be surprised at how many blank stares that they'll get as to how many realtors don't know what Article 1 of the Code of Ethics is. Okay? So compensation for your agent remains fully negotiable, and if your agent is a realtor, they must abide by the Realtor Code of Ethics and have clear and transparent discussions with you about compensation. When finding an agent to work with, ask questions about compensation and understand what services you will receive. You have choices. Work with your agent to understand the full range of these choices when buying a home, which will help you make the best possible decisions for your needs. More details about these changes and what they can mean can be found at facts.realtor. Great website. Um, Something that I think every agent should use, at least look at now. I know there are a lot of agents that are kind of just they're sitting around waiting for someone to tell them what to do, but you really got to go out and find out what to do. You can't sit around and wait for somebody else, wait for your broker to send you an email. You have to stay ahead of this stuff because tell you what, your competition is. So anyways, guys, hopefully this helps you. This has been the Real Estate Pro. We'll talk to you next time.